All right, so today we're unpacking a pretty unique prophecy about a huge global transformation. Now, this isn't some plan for a new world built on tech or politics. No, it's about a very specific group of people who are alive, right here, right now. So at the very heart of this teaching is a really fundamental question. I mean, you look around today, with all the challenges we're facing, who actually holds the key to our future? Who really has the power to change things in a big way? Well, according to this source, the answer is really specific. It says this huge responsibility falls on a group of people defined by two kind of powerful but opposite forces, having consumed an incredible amount of knowledge and at the same time having gone through the absolute most suffering.
So you gotta wonder, right? Who on earth fits that description? It's quite a paradox. Well, this source material has a name for them. It calls them the architects of a whole new era.
They're called the Anaro. And just to be clear, this isn't some ancient tribe we're talking about or some kind of secret society. Nope, it's a generation that's around today, and they're identified as the main players in this big shift that's coming. And the source is shockingly precise about this. It says the Anaroer are the people who are around 50 years old right now. The claim is that only this group, this specific generation, has the right foundation, that perfect mix of life experience and all the knowledge they've gathered to reach what it calls true enlightenment. So let's break down their main traits. First, they've taken in more information, more knowledge than literally any other generation in history. Second, they've been through the ringer, experiencing extreme suffering. And this is the crucial part. Those two things together create this incredible, unparalleled thirst for meaning. It's this deep, driving need to figure out what it's all about, and that's what supposedly sets them up for this special role. Okay, and this is where we get into the real core philosophy of this teaching. Because for the Anario, just having all that knowledge isn't enough. It's not the end of the road. There's a really important difference between just knowing something and actually awakening. Yeah, the source draws a really sharp line in the sand here. See, pretty much anyone can learn how to live a good life, a righteous life. That's the path of knowing, and it's open to lots of people. But enlightenment, well, that's something else entirely. It's described as way more radical, a path of complete and total self-sacrifice. And according to this text, that path is only for the Anaru because they have this special root energy that they've built up from all their knowledge and suffering. So that brings us to what this ultimate sacrifice really is. It actually involves completely rethinking what it even means to be a Buddha. The language here is, wow, it's pretty intense. This is not a metaphor for just, being a better person. It's described as a literal act of spiritual self-immolation. We're talking about having the power to burn up your entire soul, to offer up every single thing you are for something bigger. So what this does is it completely reinterprets a concept most of us think we know. In this teaching, becoming a Buddha isn't about achieving some personal goal like reaching a higher state. It's what's left after you've completely burned yourself away. You don't become a Buddha, you become nothing. And it's in that selfless act, that sacrifice for everyone else, that the Buddha state comes to be. And this whole act of sacrifice, it's not just some personal spiritual journey. Not at all. The source frames this as a mission for the entire Anaryu generation, a mission to change the world. They are the saviors living among us right now. So, what's the number one thing that really sets the Anaru apart from everyone else? Well, it's this single, all-consuming drive, this deep, spiritual thirst for answers, which the text claims is something totally new in all of human history. This intense yearning is really what it all boils down to. According to the source, this thirst for meaning is just off the charts compared to previous generations. And what's really key here, it's way, way higher than the digital generation that comes after them, who are described as being more about adapting to the world as it is, instead of trying to forge a totally new path. And it's because of this totally unique capacity that the source gives them another title. It calls them saviors, or in the original Korean, guseju. But the most important part, the thing they really emphasize, is that these saviors aren't some figures we're waiting for. They've already arrived. They're here now. Okay, so this all leads to the big question, right? The whole point of this new world vision. How does the personal, internal sacrifice of this one group actually have a global impact? How does that work?
Well, the Source lays out what it calls the heavenly plan, and it's basically like a series of dominoes. It all starts with the Anaru and their act of enlightenment. That single act then ripples out, setting off this massive shift in human consciousness and the way we all think. And the end result? All religions, all philosophies, they all merge into one.
And this great change is supposed to fix the one thing that's been the root of so much conflict. All our different ideologies. The old world, where it's all about my faith is right and yours is wrong, that gets replaced by a new, unified ideology the Source calls Gongdo. And in this new world, all beliefs are seen as just different roads leading to the same destination. And it's really important to get this straight. The prophecy we're talking about here isn't some kind of physical, end-of-the-world scenario. The real transformation is an evolution of the human mind. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about reality, about belief, and about one another. And so this whole teaching really leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought, doesn't it? At its core, it's about one generation giving up absolutely everything for the sake of everyone else. And that kind of forces us to turn the question on ourselves. What are we willing to give up? What beliefs, what parts of our identity would we sacrifice to create a world where we're not so divided?